you agree with the President's proposal regarding Afghanistan? And what would be your top concerns for American troops and veterans? Mr. Whitten.
I really don't think there's anything that I agree with this president on, including the Afghanistan plan. I learned many years ago to listen to more learned individuals than myself on a particular topic. I've looked at some of the history of Afghanistan, and I can tell you we're not going to win there, nor is anyone else for that matter. You go back literally thousands of years to tribal customs and religious beliefs and so forth, and you're just not going to make any real headway there. We lose almost one American soldier each day now. We did in the month of, so far this month in April. And one life killed is one too many in my opinion. Personally, we do need to get out of Afghanistan. And I think that most people would agree with that. The technology exists today to be very, very observant from all types of satellites, drones, etc., to do what we need to do to keep kind of our eyes on target. But it's not worth another human life, in my opinion. As far as the whole terrorist network, I think some of that has been stressed a little bit. We are incurring tremendous amount of cost maintaining. Now we have 2 aircraft task groups over in that area. Of course, it's probably for Iran and not really for Afghanistan. But we do need to get out of Afghanistan, and I think we have the mechanisms already in play that can assure a certain degree of security for us over there. We do not necessarily, in my opinion, need to be the world's policeman, but certainly it doesn't hurt to have the technologies that we have in play. So no, I don't agree with his policies. He has not listened to his leadership.
Thank you. Mr. Hudson.
Thank you. I absolutely disagree with the President's plan in Afghanistan. I'm surprised to hear my colleague sort of advocate some of those positions. You know, I think the problem with the President's plan is he's put our troops there, but he's given them rules of engagement to put their life in danger and make the mission impossible to succeed at. He's committed to have troops there fighting, yet he gives a date to our enemies on when they're going to leave. We've got to learn from our past mistakes. We were successful in Iraq, finally, when we won over the support of the tribal leaders in Iraq. And the problem with our plan in Afghanistan is the tribal leaders know that when we pull out and we don't defeat the Taliban is going to show up and kill everyone who helped us. And so if they know we're leaving, or even suspect we're leaving, don't think we are committed to that fight, they're not going to support us. And so the President's plan is doomed to fail from the beginning by design. Maybe not by intent, but certainly by the way it's drawn up. The rules of engagement that our military are having to operate under are shameful. They risk lives of these incredible men and women who are over there risking their lives. These are our greatest patriots. They're Olympic athletes. You know, I can't say enough about the Special Forces and other troops who are over there, but to put them in a position where they can't defend themselves is shameful. Final thing, you know, I would say is that this is a very dangerous world, and President Obama has made it more dangerous because he has sent a message. I would say the Obama foreign policy is, if you're an ally, you can't count on us, and if you're our enemy, don't worry about us. Over and over again, he has backed down from evil dictators. He has backed down from the leaders in Russia. He has surrendered our national interest. And if you're an ally, don't count on us being around very long. And it's a mistake.
Mr. Kay.
Well, you asked a question about whether I agreed with the President's policy in Afghanistan, and I've been listening pretty close for quite a while now. I'm not so certain he has a plan for Afghanistan or a national security policy in general that is coherent and sensible. Obviously, you know, we've got over 100,000 people in Afghanistan right now, and we've got to figure out what we're going to do to make sure that they're taken care of and eventually gotten out of there. I think that any of us sitting at this table or in the audience probably dip into our well of ignorance a little bit when we start talking about exactly how we're going to do that or when we're going to do that, and I'm going to try not to dip into my well of ignorance to try to talk about such things. I will say that in general, the President needs to have a coherent policy that tells the terrorists who we were most interested in Afghanistan to begin with, and now I think the Pakistanis and the Russians who seem to be, and the Taliban certainly, that are interested in Afghanistan, that we are not going to put up with any foolishness. We're not going to put up with any further terrorist camps or bases there or anywhere else in the world, and we're going to do what we have to do to win this long war against terrorism, and to make sure that the Iranians, the Russians, the Chinese, and whoever else might want to throw their weight around in the world are not going to be able to muscle their neighbors and disrupt commerce and disrupt freedom. And when the President, comes out and says that, then that's when people are going to know that. But that's not what's been happening in American foreign policy, and I think that's very unfortunate. And I look forward to the time when Americans are taken seriously.
Thank you. Mr. Robbins.
I've had the honor to defend the United States against foreign and domestic enemies in uniform. My father was a Tuskegee Airman. My great-great-grandfathers were in the Louisiana Native Guard in the Civil War, and my 5 great-grandfather was with Andy Jackson, the Battle of New Orleans, 1815, one of the 2 battalions, men of color. I'm committed to helping our veterans because, quite frankly, the Veterans Administration has failed. It's as if we decided to fight 2 wars and forgot that broken men and women would come home that need help. The Macedonian Empire, the British Empire, and the Russian and the Soviet Empire were all destroyed in Afghanistan. We had a very clear mission. We went into Afghanistan because the Taliban would not turn over bin Laden and his terrorist buddies. We captured most of his terrorist buddies, killed the ones we didn't get, and we killed bin Laden. The mission in Afghanistan has been accomplished. The Taliban do want to impose 7th century will on the people of Afghanistan, and the people of Afghanistan have to decide what they are going to do about that. Are they going to accept the Taliban back, in which case they'll live in the 7th century? Are they going to fight and resist, in which case we should help them? But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not willing to spend another American life in Afghanistan. We've achieved our mission, and it's time to come home.
Thank you. Mr. Steve.
We fought World War II and won it 44 months. We spent a lot of time in Vietnam. We spent a lot of time in the Middle East. The question was, do I agree with the President's policy? No, I do not agree with his policy in telegraphing our exit strategy to the rest of the world. He should have been more secretive about this. If he was going to exit, he shouldn't have given a date certain. So I totally disagree with that. However, I do want to say that Afghanistan is a complicated situation. Mission may be accomplished over there since bin Laden is no longer in the area. There are some other strategic issues with Pakistan and that part of the world. But I do think that I would like to see, if I get elected, I would like to see the intelligence reports that are available to members of Congress. And I would like to make my decision based upon that information that we probably do not have privy to sitting up here on this panel.